today is time for a little reaction video, I think. So what kind of reaction? Well, just recently under one of my posts, I had like a comment stating like, hey, you know, this is like an AI video and the music is AI, blah, blah, blah. So yeah. I mean, as you know, as an independent artist and when you're doing everything on your own, yes, I fooled around a little bit with AI videos for my songs. Primarily for meta ads, you know, so that I have a little bit more of a spectrum in there. In the end, I was not that happy. I tried it out, so I probably not gonna do it again, or maybe, you know, if it's getting better or something, maybe here and there, but in the end I was not that happy, so I'm producing usually the meta ads myself with some stock footages or based on certain materials like a vocal booth shot or a music video shot in front of my green screen. So however, you know, so that's one piece, and the other piece is that I want to talk about the music itself, like the creation process. So, because actually, in fact, my songs, as most of you know, because I had already a couple of behind the scenes videos and, you know, how it is like doing the soundscaping, you know, creating a sound sphere, whatsoever, with synthesizers and different instruments and whatsoever. I thought like, okay, I'm going to do the same again. And today we are going into two different songs. So one is My Own Mare. That was also the one I had the comment in the meta ads below, where I went into kind of like, so whereas the other songs are more like synth driven from a keyboard perspective or key perspective, this one I created as a more symphonic, orchestral, industrial song. And I also want to explain a little bit to you what's behind that. So what like themes, what instruments are in there and all these kind of things, to just give you a glance into the process and how that all goes together. Maybe one statement before when we're talking about AI music. So AI music is, of course, something that is like evolving significantly at the moment. And of course, when you're a real creator, you're not that much of a fan. So where I can see quite a lot potential is, for example, for birthday parties, for friends or something, that you create a song, you know, with some lyrics that are meeting the actual festivity, maybe very personal. So that might be a case where you can use it and where it's probably a really nice thing to do, but it's also pretty expensive in the end, I think, because, you know, all the credits cost money, of course. There's a lot of stuff going around with, you know, the streaming platforms with AI music. Can they really recognize if it's AI or not? So I think there will be a lot going on, but, you know, nevertheless, I stay a handmade creator of music. So when you look at the AI algorithms and all that stuff. So what you can also check that out in the platforms like, I guess, Suno, Udio, whatsoever. Just listen to some songs and just, you know, look at, for example, symphonic metal or even industrial metal. What you quite often hear there is that, so, and there's also like, it has to do with frequencies and about sound creation and creating soundscapes and stuff, right? So in symphonic or industrial metal, you usually hear like maybe a synth or, of course, the guitars. In symphonic, you usually hear strings, because actually what is really hard for an AI is to capture the different aspects of tones, of frequencies, of timbres and stuff for the different instruments. What you very barely will hear is like brass instruments or something like that, so it's all strings. But now let's go over and go into the songs. And I'm switching into the split screen mode so that I can show you a little more. So here we are with the My Own Mare song. And of course, there's like, I just go down, there's different things. So first of all, of course, there's the guitar. By the way, this is like the production mix, actually. So one before mixing, mastering, but you anyways can listen to the mixed and mastered versions from Benny on all your streaming platforms, your favorite streaming platforms. So this one is the production mix from Daniel. So first of all, of course, we're going to have the guitars in there. And for my own Mare, it was pretty simple. Sometimes I have like layered guitars in there. But since we have such a broad bandwidth of tones, of instruments through the symphonic orchestral layering, I just left the guitars plain, like the pure rhythm guitars, panned left, right, and these kind of things. So always recorded, you know, 2 guitars left, 2 guitars right, to bring a little bit in the, you know, this wall of sound, but not as much as with the others. So this is cleaner from a guitar perspective. So, and now let's listen quickly into the guitars. So very simple, right? Of course, there's also then, you know, vocals and stuff. Then I also switch on the bass lines, which is then the synthesizers, of course, played with the keyboard, so manually. So we have this and then Daniel's grinding and the mono bass. And here you also see, like, I recorded that, of course, all via MIDI. Also to be able, since I told before, I'm not the best keyboard or synthesizer player. So, of course, I have to do a little bit quantizing, but that's also in industrial metal. Everything has to be toyed. So it's going to be tightened up, of course, but it's hand played in the end. So now let's focus on the orchestral part and what's happening there. And I'm just gonna, let me switch this here down to here, and this is the orchestral layering, and I'm gonna solo that. So when we look into the orchestral layering, so what I'm starting at the beginning with is like the cello and the horns. And horns already is something which is frequency kind of like, you know, pretty hard for an AI to capture, and you barely hear brass instruments, as I said before, in AI generated music. But it brings this really nice, you know, soundscape in when you mix these both together. You also see like how the melodies are separating, like they're starting together, then they're separating, and then actually finding together again. Here you also have a loud violin in, so when we go here again, we go through it. Now the violin comes in. So actually what you have here is that you have the violin, and then the pizzicato strings are jumping in with the dit, bringing this kind of like, you know, nuance into it. So the cellos are still playing, but you see also a little bit like the melody changes a little bit, but it still stays in the scale, and the horns are then also staying. A little bit different, but they're staying. So there you also have then like, you know, a little bit of like cellos coming in, duck, 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 and additionally like some lower horns, which are bringing a nice aspect in the end. So when we unsolo this whole piece, so I think the tracks, so, and we go back there, so this sounds like this then. And of course, this is like a pre-production mix. It's not like really mixed in any way, so please forgive me, but this is like for illustrative purposes. So we're switching everything on. So here's like the drums. So this is also the real drums, and they're not mixed, so they're sounding a little bit like, you know, a pure drum set actually, but that shouldn't make any difference now. So let's just jump in somewhere, maybe here. And there again, you see when we are going into the orchestral parts again, when the verse starts. So we have, of course, we have cellos. No, we have violins. This is only called cellos, but you know, doesn't matter. So I originally recorded that as a cello, but then put it onto a violin. So that's low volume violins. Then we have the medium violas. We have like the cello again, and then cello with tremolo. Trumpets. That's also interesting. So you know that part, when we go back, that's like the pre-chorus, where it's going a little bit rougher. So let's just go from this part into the pre-chorus. So what I'm doing here with the orchestral part is that I'm also getting onto the climax, sort of like. And I have also a choir in there, which is a really neat plug-in as well. And it gives you like this ha, 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 ha. So really nice. So two choirs, you know, dropping in, one lower, one higher. So no, there's even more choirs. See, so there's also Ghostly Whisper. There's a choir. I think Ghostly Whisper is more synthesizer, but interestingly, here is also like the cello spiccato line. So, and the chorus then is very simple because it's pretty, I mean, you know, obvious. So I put a little less in there. Okay, so and here it's very simple. So when we go to the more orchestral part, there's only one melody line, which is even a synthesizer line that supports the vocals, and then it's just pure chords played with the strings, string chords. Exactly. So the interesting part then, so, and this goes on, there are certain, you know, like variations in there, but then the interesting part comes when we are getting into the bridge. So here's the bridge, and there it gets really wild from an orchestral layering perspective with loads of instruments. There are vibraphones, there are percussions in there, clarinets, tuba, horns, and all these things. I think this is a really neat part, so let's first play it with the rest of the stuff, also with the drums. See, so there's a lot going on. So with the different instruments and stuff, again, also like the brass instruments that are giving like a additional atmosphere. And let's just listen into that only from the orchestral perspective. So I think it starts here. Cellos, brass, the horns, more strings dropping in, then again brass instruments. The violins. So in the end, you see that there's a lot of sound atmosphere in this song. And I hope that it showed a little bit like this is not AI, this is really like handmade. So when we go further here, the drums, the guitars drop in again. But now what we also want to do is that we are looking ahead of time. So September 19th, of course, a new song comes out. It's To an End. It's a very, let's say, personal one. So the themes we had in the last 6 songs were all like, of course, all very personal, emotional, but they had like one theme, one topic in the background, which was based on Hemingway's The Old Man and the Sea. So the next songs are having different themes, topics. So To an End is a very dystopic song from the lyrics perspective, and I guess also from the sound perspective. It's just all about like, you know, what's going on at the moment in the world. Where are we born into? About, you know, wars going on, about, you know, political populism, about climate change, whatsoever. So all the things that are around that are making our lives from year to year harder and stuff. And thinking about, you know, like our kids maybe, you know, what life are they gonna have in like 40, 50 years? What life are they gonna have in like 100, 150 years? So very dystopic, of course, and very, very important to also bring this song to you folks. So therefore we are splitting again, and I have to load, of course, To an End. I have it here. All right. Then we have the full song, I guess. Okay, so maybe let's first start with the guitars, and there at this part you see already there's a lot more going on. So the guitars again, so maybe I also do that for you. So let's first go into that, and you see that there's more soundscape. So there's like the normal riff, then there's like quints, octaves and all that stuff, but let's quickly listen into that. So yeah, when we switch off this here, you see also that there's like the harmonies. Wait, no, I have to do it like that. Exactly, so that's like how it is. I think this is also the song where we went a little bit like, wait a second, let me just, no, I just first have to unsolo these and I solo the full track, because I think this was also the song where we have cutted the song at the beginning because it was a little too long. So the intro with the riff was too long, so we made that a little less. as you see, there's also like there's almost no original synthesizers from myself, because actually Daniel has put some really nice effects, you know, maybe put different synths into it and all that stuff. So really, really nice. And yeah, that's primarily it. So, and here you see also like there's the bass riff, for example. Wait. Right, so there's like grinding riff.
There was a time.
See, so in there it then moves on, but there's quite a lot of different kinds of synthesizers with different synthesizer effects in it. I think we have muted this one. Oh no, that was the bass riff. So quite a lot of like, you know, different kinds of layers of sounds, and a synthesizer sound is a very broad frequency sound, so you always have to be a little bit careful, so what you mix together, etc. But maybe let's go here again real quick, because no, I think it was here where the second piece started. But here again, you see it's not as much layering, since the synthesizer sounds are much broader in spectrum, as I explained before. But you always kind of like bring these side melodies in. You support certain aspects of the guitar tone to bring it into this industrial vibe kind of tone. And again, right, what I said before, like these side melodies are always very important, or maybe a sequencer line or something that is really supporting the song and giving it as some sort of climax in the end.
Came across the windfall night. To survive.
Then here we have just an in-between effect. Sorry, just an in-between effect. So let's listen to that in the whole.
Look into our souls. Threatened, we were born. Played a game. Played.
Nice pad synth.
Time will come. Time will come to an end.
So you see there's a lot of like, you know, fitting frequencies and sound side melodies and stuff into it. And then we also have, of course, the bridge part, where we're introducing, or I'm introducing, like also a little bit of electronic drum stuff. And when we're listening to that, that's now very deep and atmospheric. This is also something really nice. So I played a little bit around, and when you have a synthesizer, right? So you do some modulations, and at a certain point in time, it gets also into disharmonies, sort of like, and quite a lot in many musical genres, and also primarily also a lot in industrial metal, or everything that is with synthesizers and analog synthesis, you are playing around with sort of like disharmonies that are really adding up the song and giving an additional depth into that. This is also something which is really hard for an AI to capture, because the AI only looks at frequencies, right? So, and tries to figure out, okay, what is the, what is in there. Maybe certain things can be figured out, but really like playing around with things like disharmonies in songs to broaden up the soundscape, that I'm pretty sure is something quite hard for an AI. But, just leave a comment, if you think differently. That's just my thoughts, experience whatsoever. That's also something. So even when you're looking at the vocals, I can also show you the original pre-production track then, how that looks like. So here's also a vocoder effect on the vocals. So I just switch on both vocals.
Cannot remain looking inwards at ourselves on a small and increasingly polluted and overcrowded planet. A child.
Exactly. Yeah, so this is kind of like that, and then we're going to switch over to the alternative. Where's I think, was it the master? I think so. That's the pre-production version. Let me see. Here you see also all the MIDI files, by the way. Then the bass, choirs, and I think here, exactly. So this is the pre-production, so it's just what I did and then sent over to Daniel, and what you listened before to was the production from Daniel, and then mixing, mastering, as I said before, right? But here you already have like the vocoder in, and this brings like quite a nice effect also in there, which you sometimes can put more up or down, but it just broadens up the vocals. And the same thing we have also in the original already. What's that? Wait, I hope I didn't do Control Z. No, I don't know. No, that's what we don't need. So this is like the part, the middle part.
We are in danger of destroying ourselves by our...
There the vocoder is a lot more in the foreground in my mix in the end, and that was all taken a little back from Daniel and Benny then.
Greed and stupidity. We are in danger of destroying ourselves by our greed and stupidity.
So this is actually a quote from Stephen Hawking. I wanted to bring also like wanted to bring it into a quote format, because he was also using, due to his disease, he had this speech computer and stuff, and I really wanted to bring that very close to the Hawking kind of like thing.
We are in danger of destroying ourselves by our greed and stupidity. We cannot remain looking inwards at ourselves on a small and increasingly polluted and overcrowded planet.
yeah, that's exactly what is, coming in here. Here also you see all the different, synthesizers, but we've seen them before. Then we are having all the guitars here, like the original recorded ones. And yeah, so that should explain a little bit the difference between human-made music and maybe a little bit of, AI music. So just, let me know what your thoughts are. I feel a lot better with this, frankly spoken, than with anything else. And I hope you enjoyed that. And if you want to see more of these behind the scenes videos and also for the next songs, just let me know. And I'm going to do that for you. So, and if you see that, if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, of course, that helps me to gain reach and all that stuff, right? So you know that. So yeah, would be really happy if you are being part of the journey. Thank you. Cheers.